While doom-scrolling tier list videos, we stumbled across Finn McKenty's console tier list. It's been burned into our brain for a little over a year now just how wrong it is. You know the internet is full of misinformation, so let's work together to repair the damage done to these poor 86,000 souls.
For our tier list, we'll judge fairly and not solely based on nostalgia. Some key points we'll be looking at are sales, game catalogs, peripherals, and relevance today.
The way we'll use, and let's start with the PlayStation 3. It's console.
Oh, of course. PlayStation fanboy starts with PS3.
That's a weird spot to start. If you're going to start PlayStation 1, you just start PlayStation 1.
You just do the entire generation.
Yeah.
Came out and had a rule where you couldn't leave the line. If you did, for any reason, you would forfeit your spot. And so him and his friend got diapers, and they just went number 1 and number 2 in those big adult diapers. And
let's just be honest, dude. You're a gamer. I'm a gamer. I played over a year worth of time of WoW. You've played a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Would you ever shit your pants for a console?
No, absolutely not.
They need to get their priorities checked, buddy.
I will say the PlayStation 3 when it first came out was awesome because it had such good backwards compatibility. And then the later model, they took that out.
Oh yeah, because
so you have to get an original fat body PlayStation 3 to have backwards compatibility, which is ridiculous. That's why I hated that console.
Because backwards compatibility is consumer friendly.
And that was at a time when like downloadable content wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Like it was in its infancy. So like everybody still had all their PlayStation 2 games. So I don't understand why they would have taken that feature away. I thought about getting a PlayStation 3 and that's the reason I didn't get one.
There was some good stuff, but as far as exclusives go, I feel like the PlayStation 3 library, I can't think of a single PS3 exclusive that like I really need to have. I feel like it really didn't suck, but not great. I would say overall, I think it might be the weakest PlayStation console. It was fairly successful, but I think the B tier is a fair place to put it.
I kind of agree with them, the PlayStation 3. I'd probably give it like a C. It didn't have exclusives. I did like whenever it came out, it had the backwards compatibility. That was a big thing for me with consoles at that time, was backwards compatibility, and it did have that on release.
I don't know. PlayStation 3 is...
I think it's a good console.
It's hard to balance it because like there's nothing to really gauge here. So we can leave it here for now.
Yep,
we'll see how we feel.
Did somebody in the chat just talk shit about the PSP? Those are fucking fighting words, my friends. There were so many great games for PSP. Metal Gear Acid, really underrated Metal Gear game. It's a very strange game. It's a card battling Metal Gear game.
I remember Joe telling me about this game, and he was like, it's one of the worst games I've ever played. It's a fucking Metal Gear card game. He pitched it to me the exact same way, just like with negative connotations.
Yeah. He's like, fuck this game.
You could pirate stuff, so I literally never paid for a single PSP game.
You can't rank stealing games in a console because you can jailbreak any console. That means nothing.
It was not very successful in America, but it was pretty successful in Japan. I would put it on the A tier. If I only had a PSP.
His reason for putting the PlayStation 3 on C tier is it didn't have a lot of exclusives.
On B tier, yeah.
And it didn't sell that well, or didn't sell, like it was in competition with Xbox.
Yeah.
But like what exclusives did the fucking PSP have?
He just said they had a ton. It had Metal Gear card battling.
Metal Gear card. PlayStation 3 had Metal Gear Solid.
But it had Metal Gear card battling.
It did have Metal Gear card battling. You got me there. That's a point. My point being is like the PSP had a lot of good games on it, but doesn't have any exclusives that people still talk about. Like, there's nothing that was like groundbreaking with the PSP.
Who's downloading a PSP emulator to play a game?
Nobody. That's what I'm saying. Like there's no point in ever doing it. Like I loved the console. I had a PSP and I jailbroke it and I fucking played the fuck out of it. But I wouldn't say any of the games were memorable.
Hear me out. What do you think about this? We'll drop them both at D and come back.
We'll keep it there. Yeah, we'll come back to it. Actually, I lied to you. Can you put PS3 just on C tier for me?
Dude,
I feel better.
This boy's sweating, dude.
I feel better. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, I kind of like the PS3.
Did you have a PS3?
No.
Then why do you like it?
My roommate at the time, I had an Xbox 360 and he had a PS3, so we'd play interchangeably.
Gamers unite.
There you go, baby.
Dude, that's illegal, dude. Sony and Xbox don't want that.
I know.
They want you to hate each other.
Every time a fucking helicopter would go by, we'd like peek out the curtains and we had like blackout curtains and shit.
They're coming for us.
Toast the fucking consoles, throw them in the bathtub.
You're like, we're Wii players.
No, Nintendo.
We play Nintendo.
One of the best consoles ever.
He says it's one of the best consoles ever and has no talking points on it. He talked about Metal Gear Solid. No talking points on the console.
Jailbroke it.
Hey guys, I illegally stole lots of games. That's a fucking A tier right there.
I'm gonna ruffle some feathers with this one. Let's talk about the Sega Dreamcast. I feel like people are letting nostalgia tell them that this thing was better than it actually was. There were a lot of issues with the hardware. For example, this joypad here was really sharp and it would cut the
Literally never had this issue before.
shit out of your finger.
It's because who the fuck plays with the joypad? What are you, 90 years old? What game are you playing with a fucking joypad?
And who has such sensitive fingers that a joypad is cutting it?
Dude, I got gamer fingers. I got calluses on calluses.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
EMU, which was like a little like Tamagotchi type thing. This little LCD screen.
And then he talked shit about one of the best.
And play a little mini game.
That shit was legit.
It was cool.
You would take the Sonic Adventure little fucking thing and like raise the peg, bro.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't use it a lot.
That's all I used it for, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Where would you put the Dreamcast at then?
Right now?
Yeah.
Probably a C or B.
C or B. You think it'd be better than the PlayStation 3?
I 100% think a Dreamcast is better. Personally, I can't name any PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah,
Dreamcast, I played so much Sonic. I played all the 1 and 2. I played so much Dino Crisis. I played so much Jet Set Radio. I played so much Crazy Taxi.
Bloody Roar started out on the fucking Dreamcast.
That's where we started playing Bloody Roar, yeah.
Ooh, fucking Skies of Arcadia.
Soul Calibur,
Such a good
Tony
game.
Hawk, Virtual
Insane.
Tennis. Bro, Virtua Tennis. Me and Anthony played
that game
so much,
good.
bro.
That game is so fucking. I'd go back today and play Virtua Tennis.
I literally got an emulator on the arcade with it, dude.
Yeah,
me and
that
Anthony
game
were
is
playing.
so fucking fun.
It is actually fucking 10 out of 10. Phantasy Star, I played the fuck out of on here.
GameCube.
Sonic and
Power
Sonic
Stone,
2.
That's what we were talking
I
about.
never played Power Stone.
That game's fucking awesome.
There were so many games on here that I played that were just like Crazy Taxi 2. Being able to take that game off the arcade and play it at home was sick as fuck.
I just feel like there was a lot of games on the Dreamcast that I just didn't like.
Yeah.
There were a lot that I did like, but then there was a lot that I didn't like also.
Their biggest
It was
issue
really
is
weird.
it became a pirate console, so third parties stopped putting games on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So they got
I think that's the worst part of it for me.
Yep.
And I think that ruined the console for me because I was like, I like these 5 games and that's it.
So what did PS3 come out with? Xbox 360?
Yeah, Xbox 360.
It's just like I played Xbox
Like I would take a
360
360 over PS3 any fucking day of the week, but I will say a PS3 did have a good catalog.
I mean, it just has it has comparable games to a 360. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely better than a Dreamcast probably.
That's my only point.
Mm-hmm. We can put it on the D, bro. We can put it on that D. And how ironic that it's on D because they both have something very in common. They're very easy to pirate and you can play unlimited games on them for free.
It was not fantastic. I would put it on the C tier. I'd rather have a PS3 than a Dreamcast. One positive is that piracy was really easy for Dreamcast, so I also pirated every single fucking game on Dreamcast. Never paid
Here
for a
we
single
go,
one,
dude. The
Dreamcast.
real
So that's a C tier.
bullshit
Here's another
call
one
then.
that's gonna ruffle some feathers because GameCube's graphics were outdated on release. This is what Nintendo always does. They make these underpowered consoles, and it's worked for Switch, and it kind of worked for Wii. But GameCube, I don't think it was great. You guys have fond memories of it because you were probably like 7 when it came out, but I was a little bit older, so I remember this shit. This was a fucking launch game. Luigi's Mansion was.
Yeah,
Why is he shitting on that?
What does it look bad?
Like it doesn't look
Does
bad
he not
at all.
remember the era of 2001?
I don't know. Do you want to pull up a PS2 game? Pull up San Andreas. Check out those fucking graphics.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the turd.
There we
guys.
go. Now there's real graphics.
There's real
That's what we're talking-
graphics.
Okay. You know what? Maybe he's got a point.
One's stylized and lives forever. The other looks like dog shit after you've genned
Right?
out.
It was not great. It's the same story with every Nintendo console. The first-party games are good. Nintendo makes great games. All the third-party games are either bad ports or just trash. You know, you had Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, the Pokemon games. You know, those are okay. Mario Sunshine was okay.
Mario Sunshine was okay. It was okay.
Some
for
people
instance.
still fucking say that Mario Sunshine is the best.
It was okay. Okay.
It was fun. It was a great game. He's saying the GameCube had a handful of good games. GameCube had a plethora of fucking top tier games. A fucking absolute shit ton of god tier games
God,
that people
gen
still talk
sucks.
about to this day.
GameCube
Fucking Lost Kingdom.
Exclusive. Dude, there's no good games on the GameCube. Stop.
This boy's a JRPG freak and he didn't put GameCube.
Literally,
high?
Lost Kingdoms is one of the best, dude. So where are we putting the GameCube? Let's just see where he puts it.
Powered, and Nintendo was still kind of weird back then. That's right. It had the little 3-inch CDs, right? I forget the name of them. So they couldn't fit very much data on those discs, and so the GameCube basically just never got a lot of those
data on
ports.
the disc. They
Hitman,
literally
Animal
all the
Crossing,
games
those
were
okay.
fucking
I
great.
mean, it was
They were
reasonably
all
successful,
completed.
right?
Like
But
what?
not a smash hit by any means. It was really the
It was
first
not
time
a
Nintendo
smash hit.
They were
really
literally
lost the
games that
battle.
just
The
made
honest
2
truth-
fucking discs.
It's
Like-
not a smash hit, but what PS2 games are still in tournaments today?
What's your favorite Madden game? Was it Madden
About
fucking
GameCube.
4 for the
I would put it
PlayStation 2?
kind of on the same tier
Or Madden
as Dreamcast.
14
If
for
you
the
take the nostalgia
PlayStation
factor
4?
aside,
Like,
would you really rather have a GameCube over a PS3 if you could only play
100%.
yes, yeah.
Any day
Yeah,
I'd take
any
it.
fuck-
one
fucking-
thing for the next year? Would you choose
anytime.
a GameCube over PS3? I don't think
So
you
he
would.
puts it at
Nintendo
C, which him not owning a GameCube, I could logically think how he's thinking about it. But me being 11 years old and having a GameCube from 11 to like 14, and Steven still looking back on him today, I'd put a GameCube at an A.
I mean, I'd put it.
It's still one of
I'd
my-
put a GameCube at S.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite
eternally
consoles
Mario.
of all time.
I put it at S, but I know objectively speaking, there's better consoles.
Yeah. Yep. My GameCube never had any fucking problems, dude. And I literally used that bitch with the
Yeah.
handle because I used to go to my friends.
Yeah.
So I would like take it over to my friend's
Fucking
house
toss
like
it in the
all the
bag.
time, and I drop that shit on like the ground and shit, and it still ran.
Never had any
Never
disc
had any
read
problems.
errors.
Yep.
Never had any red rings. Never had any issues.
Nothing.
So the NES,
He's going back to the NES.
Yeah.
I hate this comparative because people are always going to like say that the NES, because at the time, the NES was the best system all time. Like it's
Yeah.
all that was out. But looking back on it, the NES fucking sucked, dude. Like there's no NES games I want to go and play. A lot of them are just move your character, try not to get hit. Like
Yep.
that's it.
Super Mario 3, one of the very best games of all time.
No,
the
it is
fact
not.
that Nintendo keeps releasing these games over and over and over again, like for the Virtual
Of
Console.
all the games this
and
era,
Super
one of the
Mario,
very
we keep playing these
best.
games.
Super Mario 3 is like an amazing game. It's insanely fun, and I think it is a great game. There's no way I'd ever say it's one of the greatest games of all time.
Here's a question. If you say a game is one of the best of all times, is that saying that you should be able to play it today and still have a really
it still
fun
has
time?
to hold up. Like, I could not call a game the best of all time and then
If it sucks ass playing
and then be like, oh, well, I wouldn't play it now. Then it's not the greatest of all time.
Go back
it's the
in
greatest
time
of
and play
its
it.
time.
Exactly. Go back in time and play
That's exactly what I would say. It was the greatest game of its time. I would
Yeah.
not say all time at all.
You go play Mega Man 2 today. It still holds up.
No, it doesn't.
I
Mega
played
Man
it
2
on my arcade.
This man pulls up screenshots and it looks like fucking diarrhea on a toilet bowl, dude. Like, what the fuck?
I think, I mean, yeah, we got to put it on the A tier. In terms
It's
of commercial
so
success
bad.
and influence,
It is
right?
not,
People in chat, right?
no.
It
There's
saved the
no
entire
way
video
an
industry. It gave us
NES
Mario, it gave us
is
Zelda, it
two
gave us Metroid.
tiers above a GameCube. I'm sorry. I would
No.
go back and play almost every GameCube game today.
Yeah.
That was a Nintendo game.
Yep.
Where are you putting it? I'm putting it on a probably C,
I'd
honestly.
say C, yeah. The
Yes.
only points it gets from me is just respect for like it
Yeah.
started the Mario franchise, it started the Metroid franchise, it started the Castlevania franchise. It had so many franchises that it started with at
Mhm.
Nintendo.
Only reason I'm not putting it on the S tier, I think everybody would agree that as great as the regular old NES was, that the Super Nintendo was even better. Super Nintendo was really fantastic.
Oh yeah. This might be one of the only things I agree with him
Absolutely
on.
incredible. Everything good about the NES, the Super Nintendo did
How
even
the
better.
fuck does he take a Super Nintendo and be like, all the games on this fucking stellar, fantastic games, the best console of all time, and then be like the GameCube, which had the exact same fucking games.
I feel like GameCube is equivalent to SNES in terms of like N64. N64 is a good console, but GameCube did everything better with better games.
Yeah, I just want to listen to the games he puts for the SNES because it's all the games that he were talking about were all right for the GameCube. And I'm like, it's the exact same fucking games, but better.
The Super Nintendo is classic for Super Mario World alone. It's true. If you have never played Super Mario World, you are missing out. It is, no joke, one of the best games ever made in any genre, any console, like ever. It's that good. You know, you could go play this game now.
Greatest of
It's
all
still
time
a
and
fucking great
greatest
game.
of
Nothing
its
about this
time
game has
mixed up
aged at
again.
all. It is an absolute classic,
Yeah.
just a masterpiece of game design.
I
But,
was
like,
just playing this the other day with Lincoln. It's so bad.
I'm telling you,
It's
dude,
so
the
hard to
level
play.
design on it is
But I put
fucking
the
dog shit.
NES on the A tier.
It's so hard to go
is
back and
because
play.
We've got to put the Super NES where it belongs, up here on the S tier. It's just a fact. It is S tier.
I agree with him that I would put the Super Nintendo on S tier just because all the games that Nintendo made on the Super Nintendo is the best form of those games. There's so many games that transfer from the Nintendo to Super Nintendo that are just so much better. And like,
Yeah,
I
I
still
mean-
play them to this day.
Everything about the SNES games is better than the NES games. Where are you putting the SNES?
Where are you putting the SNES?
I don't know, dude. I would probably put it in A. It's in
I'll
in
go with
between.
that.
The only
I agree with him saying that it is my favorite Nintendo console. All the games that I think of for Nintendo, I think the most fun I'll ever have is the versions for the SNES. Not saying that they're the best one.
for me, that's the GameCube.
Yeah. I feel like the Nintendo I didn't really like. The Super Nintendo I loved. The Nintendo 64 I didn't think was that great, but the GameCube I thought was like top
Yeah.
tier. Like they're like on the same level. I honestly wouldn't say the Super Nintendo is way above the GameCube anyways. Like I would put them on the same tier. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
They both have giant lists of really good games that innovated on their previous versions.
Yeah.
But you know what's not S tier? It's going to ruffle some feathers. People aren't going to like it. It's the Sega Saturn.
Go straight to the Sega Saturn.
All right, let's cut the Sega Saturn. I've never owned a Sega Saturn. I never played any games that were Sega Saturn. I didn't even know the Sega Saturn really fucking existed. Can we replace that with the Sega Genesis?
Yes,
You
we're
would
gonna
go with that?
we're gonna replace it with the
'Cause
Genesis.
I owned one Genesis. That console was fucking amazing. I loved it. We had Sonic 1 through 3,
Sonic Pinball.
Sonic Pinball.
Hell
We
yeah!
had,
I think Street Fighter was on it. That's all my
I
dad
think
ever
Street
played.
Fighter's on it.
My
We
dad
had
only played
Streets of
Street
Rage,
Fighter on it.
Golden Axe. Personally, I love the Sega Genesis, but I don't think it was that great of a console.
It falls into
Like,
the same trap of the Dreamcast though, where it's not a ton of third-party games.
Yeah.
and you're just playing Sega.
It's just
games.
like a Sega thing.
it's like
I guess.
arcade games brought to your house.
Yeah.
So
I'd say D tier.
I mean, you can't bring it up to a PS3 and a Nintendo. Let's just be real.
What's next? TurboGrafx 16. Okay, now we're getting nerdy.
TurboGrafx 16, bro. What do you know about a TurboGrafx?
I know nothing.
We're
I
just
don't-
gonna skip it.
I don't think it needs to be on the list. I've never heard anybody talk about it.
It's not going in the
Yeah,
rankings.
tell me the game that you go back and play every year from it. Just let us know.
It's that bonk game, dude. I already told you about it. That's all they
That's
play.
fucking garbage.
Another one that's going to make some people mad.
Here we
But it's just
go.
got to be said. Here's the honest truth. Nintendo 64 is not great. It just isn't. I'm sorry. It's not great. It's mid. That's the truth. It's mid.
I
Yeah, the
agree.
controller was horrible. Look at this goddamn controller. Like, take off your nostalgia.
Okay,
graphics.
the N64 might be mid, but the
console
games on
itself.
it,
Yeah, no,
but the games
itself
on
are
it
fucking amazing.
shit on
Yeah.
exclusives from many other
The
consoles.
controller
yeah.
was trash. The
This
graphics
is in
also.
direct
Ocarina of Time
competition with the
is a good game.
PlayStation 1.
But look at the
Which
graphics. Like the N64 hardware was
sucked.
trash. Look at
It
this shit.
released-
This is probably an up-res
My-
modern version of
All
it.
right.
It
First
looks
of
awful.
all, this man fucked up so hard when he said, look at the graphics, and then pulled Ocarina of Time, which is still holds up.
Yep.
Still holds up today. In direct comparison with a PlayStation 1, which I'm sure he's about to go over, and he's going to fucking praise it. Pull up Final Fantasy 7, put it side by side to Ocarina of Time.
That seems like a fair comparison, right?
Like, look at this shit on this screen, dude. I can't even fucking comprehend what's going on.
Look at him, dude. Can you even make out his body, bro? Link is walking through a green forest with green clothes on it. You can still tell him apart.
Yeah.
This dude is a completely different color. I can't see shit in the train.
It's a fucking mess.
This is an accurate sort of depiction of what it felt like to play Ocarina of Time. Just
that looks
blurry
good.
crap. A great game, but
maybe that's just me.
It looks fine for that time.
In fucking 1995, 96.
And the analog stick was revolutionary. That's true. A great game, but the hardware really, really held it back because you could only fit so much on a cartridge. Yeah, just really not great hardware. A few good games. Mario 64 is a god tier game.
I agree with like the hardware wasn't the greatest. I mean, Nintendo's never been known for its fucking next gen hardware when they release. I hated the fucking controller. I don't like 3D graphics. I don't think a lot of like the initial
it wasn't a good time
step
for 3D.
in. No, it was like the infancy of it.
Yeah.
So of course none of the games are gonna look amazing. Like it was everybody was getting into the door and figuring out how 3D graphics were supposed to look. But I will say Nintendo 64 has a stacked fucking game list. Like some of the greatest games. You got 007, Mario 64, you got Ocarina of Time, you got Majora's Mask, fucking Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, you got Wave Race.
Pokemon Snap was actually
Pokemon
fucking nice.
Snap. I mean, even with Pokemon, you have Stadium, Diddy Kong Racing. Oh my god, such a good fucking game.
1080
snowboarding. I fucking love that game. Blast Corps. Nobody
talks about it. It's so
Conker's
good.
Bad Fur Day.
Wait, Blast Corps was by Rare? No wonder it was good.
Bro, Rare made every game for the N64 that was fucking good, dude. Perfect Dark. That being said, the Nintendo, Mario
Smash Brothers, Mario
64,
Kart,
Smash
Paper
Brothers,
Mario.
Paper Mario. Oh my god,
Star Fox, Golden Eye.
How the fuck are you not gonna say the system didn't have fucking titles?
It has a few good games.
Nintendo 64 had like 30 groundbreaking games that people still talk about today.
It also had Madden on it, bro. So all your sports geeks can play get sports on it.
Aside from a handful of games like that, this N64 library is garbage. It's a shit console with the best game ever, Mario 64.
Oh my god, dude, this is embarrassing to watch.
I'm gonna bonk him on the head. Get the poop out of his brain.
Get that shit out of there.
It's better than Saturn, better than TurboGrafx. Is it better than GameCube?
He puts this shit on
so
like
it's more successful than GameCube. I'll put it on the same tier as PlayStation, which is generous. It's generous. To call it B tier is generous, but I'm going to give it some credit for pioneering the analog stick.
So,
I don't think he's wrong.
I don't know how the fuck he stumbled into B tier because all he did was talk shit about it.
Yeah.
But I agree with him. I agree it's on a B tier. If you were just going by games, like the list of games, it's an A tier.
Yeah.
Easy. But I think the fucking console itself and the fucking controller holds it back.
Let's talk about the original Xbox. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I do not think original Xbox is good. There were some things about it that were innovative. The hardware actually wasn't good. The hardware was basically just like an off-the-shelf PC.
I think the hardware was fucking fantastic for it. Like the games itself were the weak point of the console. Like, it's a reverse Nintendo 64. Like it had the first actual fucking internal memory. I remember at this time I had a shitload of CDs and I went and loaded like fucking 50 CDs worth of music on it. And I would literally listen to music on the Xbox all the time. Yeah.
That shit was sick.
It was fucking cool as shit. It was the first introduction to online like first person shooters. Halo 2 came out on the original Xbox at the time and you could play online.
Xbox Live
with stability.
A fucking entire ecosystem of gaming and consoles. I'm just saying though, like my childhood is defined by Halo 2 and Halo 1.
Yeah. But
even Halo 1 we played so much local.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went to LAN parties for Halo 1. Like I loved Halo 1 was my favorite game at the time.
There's no multiplayer game you can show me on the PS2 that's better than Halo.
Halo did start the FPS shooter and like set the standards for what FPS shooters should be.
Anyways, like
let's go back to
Xbox is not the best console, but I don't know where we would be without Halo as FPS.
I just say the Xbox, the original console, was a great hardware, limited by.
He puts it on F tier. That's such a joke, dude. Like you can't put it on F tier, bro.
Nah,
it's not good, but it's not F tier.
I think it'd be a high D, low C for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put it on the D for now. I don't have any strong feelings for it because I literally only play Halo, bro. Yeah. That's all I play.
Yeah.
Like if
it's hard to defend a console when you're like, I played one game on it.
Yeah, like I literally just played this one game.
Yeah.
And the controller sucked. Gears of War was okay. And the thing was huge. It was like this big.
Gears of War wasn't on the Xbox.
Yeah, that was the 360. That's yikes.
But the Xbox 360 is a
360 is S tier, dude. Let's just say it right now.
There was a lot of good shit for 360. The Red Ring of Death is definitely a big black mark on the 360. And like basically your console was dead. If it got the Red Ring of Death, it was dead.
Okay, your console was dead, but if you contacted support, they replaced it for free.
Yep.
I never had an issue. My shit went dead at the end of the life cycle, and they fucking replaced my console, bro.
Yeah,
I know they had
awesome.
They had a fucking 3-year warranty on it, but they still fucking replaced mine. My shit was way the fuck out of warranty.
Can I say my original Xbox 360 I still have to this day? And it never had any issues. And I played thousands upon thousands of hours on Halo 2, Halo 3, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I probably have 30,000 hours in the fucking console with all my games added together because I played it from fucking release midway through the Xbox. I didn't get an Xbox One on release. I got it midway through. So I got a decade of gaming on that one 360. I never bought a fucking new one. The original Xbox 360.
And they were constantly updating that shit.
Yeah. When that shit came out, Morrowind looked like fucking trash. It looked like Play-Doh. But then by the end of the fucking cycle, we had like Halo 3 and like Modern Warfare. Like games looked fucking gorgeous on the same exact hardware. That is insane. That console was fucking great. Had online fucking talking chats.
Xbox Live.
You had a friends list. Yep, you had that. It was the start of apps. You got Netflix on it, fucking Hulu, Netflix all that shit. Yep.
Xbox Live Arcade was sick.
Yep.
Let all the indie gamers, indie game devs come on there.
The fucking controller was baller. It had a removable hard drive.
Can we say it before he says it? Dare I say the greatest controller of all time?
Whoa.
It at least set the blueprint.
I agree, yeah. I love the way that the Xbox is set up with the joystick up top left and the right one down low. That's how I've always felt that's the most comfortable. Like the Xbox joystick is still what I go to.
Look at the fucking Switch controller, you know?
Yeah.
That has the same layout.
Than the original Xbox. But there still weren't, that hardware was shit, obviously. I mean, Red Ring of Death.
Hardware was shit. Bro, I played the console for 10 fucking years.
He also brings Red Ring of Death up. As we're about to see, he puts PS2 where he puts it in the top. PS2 had disc read error.
Oh my
which
God.
was a huge issue.
Every PlayStation 2 had disc read error. And they never replaced the console for it.
They never made a real thing that replaced it.
You know what the repair was? Was a fucking third party going in and taking out your fucking disc tray and your laser and replacing the whole fucking thing. Because I know people who did that and it was like fucking $75 or $100 to do. Dude, and even those fucked up eventually.
Yep,
I think the PS2 failure was way more effective than the fucking Xbox 360. I knew 2 or 3 people who got the red ring and they sent their Xboxes in and had a new Xbox within a week.
Yeah, like Microsoft just ate it, bro. They knew they fucked up. And speaking of which, I used to have my PS5 over there vertically. You notice how I don't have it there anymore? I have it down here. PS5s have started failing.
Yeah.
The cooling paste starts heating up and it moves to the bottom.
It shifts down.
And the top part overheats and it breaks and it stops reading discs.
I think the 360 is a solid console. I would put it on the A tier because it had a good library. And
he would put it on the A tier.
Xbox Online was way better than PlayStation.
But he's going to put it on the B tier because of Red Ring. Makes no sense.
But we've got to dock some points for the Red Ring of Death, right? I think that's only fair.
So he would put this console that has one of the biggest libraries in the world on a tier where PS3 didn't do well and then N64 didn't have a good library. In his words, of course.
Yeah.
Put the 360 on the B tier. How about the PlayStation 1 versus PlayStation 2? This is going to be a tough one. I still have a modded PS1, one of the best game libraries of all time. The DualShock controller is the template for all
I knew he was going to say it, dude.
That is
the DualShock controller is the template for all good controllers that came out after it.
This is the template for a good controller, period, right? I mean, everybody else has sort of iterated on it afterwards. The hardware still looks awesome.
It's the
software
template
library
for PlayStation controllers.
If he wants to say it's the template for a good controller, you can literally just look at the top without the legs. What does that look like?
Like a SNES controller.
Wow.
It literally looks the exact same.
It looks like a Super Nintendo controller. So if this is the template for a good controller, what does that make an SNES?
The template for a good controller.
Wow. It's almost like controllers are built on top of each generation.
Yep. I get what you're going.
But today I'm not ever taking a PS fucking 5 over an Xbox.
The hardware still looks awesome.
They're good for immersion, the new ones, but
Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9,
that's single player game only, I guess.
And
PlayStation is just 4 single player games.
Crash Bandicoot, Metal Gear Solid 1, exactly. Tony Hawk, that's right. So many of the best franchises of all time were started on PlayStation 1. I mean, just absolutely incredible. And the memory card, I mean, just everything about this thing was awesome.
There's a memory card on the N64, bro.
Anyone that tells you that the PlayStation 1 is anything but S tier is out of their goddamn
mind. I like
mind.
how he talks about the design too. Like it's so nice. Like
it looks literally like a rectangle box.
Stupid. Yeah.
He just that's it. That's all he said about the PS1. What are your feelings on the PS1?
I didn't really play it a whole lot.
You know, all I played on it, the Pizza Hut demo disc.
Like there was a lot of really good games on the PlayStation 1. It's a very big
library, yeah.
My dad owned one and I'd play like Gran Turismo is what he had. So I didn't have all these games for it. I don't like the controllers. I never liked the controllers for it because whenever I had it, we didn't have the joystick. I had the D-pad, which fucking sucks. It was a terrible I hated the controller. I don't think the hardware to it was good. Graphically, it was all right.
It looks the same as the N64 or worse.
Yeah.
The same. Like, there's nothing better about it. PlayStation has a good library.
Yeah, I think it had a really good library.
But games aren't better than the N64 games. I would just literally put it as the same as N64 personally.
I think they're comparable, yeah.
They just seem like more or less the same consoles where they had iconic games that came out of it and then a lot of other games that were just like, eh.
If you put the titles side by side, they probably have about the same hit for hit. So I'd probably put it about the same as Nintendo 64 because I hate both the controllers. I don't really, the 3D graphics was in its infancy. They both looked bad.
Yeah.
And they were comparable in games. So I think it'd be a B tier for me.
I agree.
Now, how about PlayStation 2? It's really hard for me to decide whether PS1 or PS2 is better. The PS2 controller, even better than the PS1
How is that
controller
hard to
because it has
decide?
dual analog
That
and
is
everything,
not
and
even hard to
vibrating level
decide.
function.
The
Flawless
PlayStation
controller
2
to
is
this
like
day
a
still plays
million times better than the PlayStation 1.
I mean, we don't even have to say it. I mean, I'm just going to put it at the S tier.
You think so?
Solely for sales, bro.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, yeah, if that's one of his major things.
It was sales and personal preference. See,
yeah.
unlike him, I feel like my personal preference can't weigh down something that's one of the greatest selling consoles.
Yeah.
But also PS2 had good games.
And it was directly in competition with Halo and the Xbox.
Yeah.
But it fucking trounced them. Like it had way better lineup of games.
Yeah, that's versus Xbox One, right?
The Xbox One, yeah.
Like it destroyed that generation in terms of games.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I personally just am not a huge fan of single player games, but the single player games I did play, like when we played Final Fantasy X, I had never played anything as good as that. Whenever we played that, I was like, holy fuck, this game is good. You know, I'm not going to debate whether PS2 is a good console.
It's where God of War started.
I know it's a good console.
Oh, yeah.
My personal preference might lower it to an A if it wasn't the greatest selling console of all time.
Like I also didn't play it a whole lot. So my personal preference, I would say it's like an A, but I do agree it's probably an S. It has games that people still talk about to this day.
Yeah.
As some of the best. So
100%.
I can't knock it.
But his opinion of whether it's hard to say or not, a PS2 or a PS1, that is a terrible take.
That's a yikes. Yeah,
PS2 is way better.
I don't know how you even...
Let's assume you can only play the PS2 library on the thing. Would you rather have a PS2 or a PS1 if you were on a desert island? I think I would rather have a PS2.
Yeah,
both are absolutely fantastic. The loading times are bad on PS1.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's right.
Let me sell you on the PS1. We have pointy triangle titties and undistinguishable graphics on Final Fantasy. You can't see anything at all.
Oh, okay. No, that's a good point. What's the Final Fantasy for PS2? Is that one looks
It's
bad
crystal
too?
clear and 1080.
Oh, shit.
You can see everything, and it's a whole world you can explore instead of 2D backgrounds.
I can see how this is hard.
I want to talk about a very underrated console, which is the Nintendo DS.
How are we grouping these? DS and 3DS, one console?
For me personally, I didn't own a DS, and I didn't know that DS was that big of a deal, like that it sold so much.
Yeah.
I owned a 3DS, and I thought the 3DS had such a great fucking library.
It has all of the DS's library. That's why it's a great library.
DS, yeah. But it also has like Monster Hunter, and it had some of the best Pokemon games.
Literally every Pokemon game you could play on it. It had the Pokemon Bank, so you could transfer your Pokemon between them. It had fucking Advance Wars. It had Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask remade. It is the handheld.
Oh yeah, I'd bank DS and 3DS together.
I'm grouping them together. So where are we putting it?
It was one of the best handhelds. I think it was way better than the fucking PSP.
Possibly S tier, maybe A tier.
I would have to say A, at least for right now.
Oh, the Castlevania games. DS Castlevania games are, in my opinion, maybe the best in the series. Fucking incredible.
I need to play this game because he said it's the greatest Castlevania game.
You got to go do that right now. If you like
try
Metroidvanias,
it.
I think these are the best in the series.
I want
even
to.
better than Symphony of the Night.
Because like I love Symphony of the Night. I
by the way, is
think
my
that's
favorite
the
game of all
best
time.
Castlevania game.
What when that come out on?
But the DS
SNES?
is very good.
SNES
Would I put it on the same
PlayStation
level
2.
as
PlayStation 2.
the Super Nintendo, PS1, or PS2? I don't think I would, but it's pretty goddamn good. I'll put it on the A tier. Nintendo Wii. It was really around the N64, but especially the GameCube, where Nintendo went off the rails for quite a while. And the Wii, to me, was the worst example of that. Other
Here
than
we
the fact that Wii sort of
go.
accidentally got popular because of Wii Sports and became like
Something
sort of a
accidentally
normie
get
fad.
popular.
The thing was a piece of
That's
shit.
not how it
How many good
works.
games were there for Wii that like you really are like, oh shit, I gotta have a Wii to play this game? Like I can't even think of one. It's garbage. Like there's nothing good on Wii.
It's so garbage that it inspired an entire generation of consoles to copy its hardware.
Yep.
Their motion controls.
Yeah, motion controls.
I'm not saying that I like motion controls, but clearly that's what worked at the time.
It had the built-in speaker inside the controllers. What does that nowadays?
I wonder. What controller does that?
You know, it's not great. It's pretty shitty, actually. And the controller is fucking garbage. Like, motion controls are the worst thing in the world.
For him to say the controller is garbage is just hilarious because it's just like an NES controller. So if you're just using it to play 2D games, whatever, like you just turn it sideways. But also, you could literally buy a pro controller for like $20, I think, and it just plugs into that.
Yeah, and you're good. That's
And
what
it's
I did.
still wireless.
That's what I did. Dude, I had like 4 pro controllers.
Yeah. Like, why would you use that controller for anything?
It was for like Mario Party and shit. Like all the motion sensor games like Wii Sports and shit like that.
Let me buy
Like,
the
they were
PlayStation 3 and be like, it has the worst controller of all time, and I'm holding a PS Move controller.
Yeah.
People are like, why do you have the PS Move controller? Get the other controller.
You're like, this controller sucks and you have a DDR mat.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? Put it on D tier?
Dude, it's one of the highest selling consoles of all time. And I'd choose a Wii over a fucking NES. Probably about the same level as the PS3. I'd go C tier.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the C.
I mean, sales alone, you can't argue. The motion sensor was groundbreaking at the time. It was innovative. It had the eShop, which was fucking great.
It also brought a lot of people into gaming who would otherwise not game.
Yeah, I would say the Wii's good, not great.
Are we gonna put the Wii U on here?
Sure, you can put it in F tier. We need an F tier.
Dude, Wii U is so good. Wii U has some really good Nintendo games.
I bought a Wii U around the time when it first came out, and I probably put about 40 hours into the console.
Bro, I'd put a Wii U on C, bro.
No.
Yeah.
You're trolling.
Nah, dude, it has some of the best.
It comes with a tablet.
It has some of the best Nintendo games. They brought them to the Switch for a reason.
I'm gonna butt heads with you on that one. Like, I thought the Wii U was one of the worst consoles ever made.
Why?
Like, I hated it.
In what regards?
It had no games that I found fun.
You didn't
I had Breath of the
You
Wild
didn't
for
like
it.
the Mario Kart 8?
I liked Mario Kart 8.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was alright.
and that's where it launched.
But I mean, I played it on a different console.
Yeah, but that's bullshit, though. It came out on the fucking Wii U, bro.
But I didn't have it for the Wii U. I had Breath
Look
of
at
the
this.
Wild.
Breath of the Wild. It came out on the best console ever, bro. The Wii U.
I didn't like it. When it first came out, I thought it was all right, but I didn't think it was
3D
great.
World, Pikmin 3,
Didn't like Pikmin.
Bayonetta,
Didn't play
Mario
Bayonetta.
Kart 8, 10 out of
Like
10.
Mario Kart 8.
Ooh, HD, 10 out of
Yep.
10. The Wii U is 100% better than a Genesis and a PSP.
I'm just saying my personal
That's
preference
fine.
would be F tier because I owned one right when it came out and I put so little time on it.
That's fine. All right, let's listen to our boy.
Yeah, hit
The
us, Finn.
television, dude. Get the
Tell us
fuck
about
out
the
of here.
television, Finn.
We're getting the fuck out of here with the television, dude. Let's hear him shit on the Switch.
Like nothing at all is desirable about it. You're not missing anything if you've never played one.
That's not
just
the Switch.
Oh, I thought that was the Switch. I was like, whoa, this boy coming out the gate swinging.
Switch. You know, I will admit, I was skeptical about the Switch. I thought this is dumb. This is a gimmick. Nobody's going to want this. But I will admit that I was wrong. However, I will not say that it's S tier or maybe even A tier. The Nintendo games for it are great, as always, because that's what we've realized is that Nintendo keeps creating these underpowered consoles with like weird gimmicks. And so what you end up with is the Nintendo games that are designed for it by Nintendo are great, and then the third-party stuff is mostly trash.
So every indie game ever is trash, okay?
NES and Super NES games are cool, but again, that's playing games that are 20, 30, 40 years old. The Joy-Cons are also kind of weird. Like, it is a little bit clumsy having to dock them and stuff.
You know the reason why he says that's weird because one analog stick's up top and one's down bottom. He's like, it's not like the greatest setup like the PlayStation of all time. But like you can undock those, put them into a controller that comes with it, and it's a regular ass fucking controller.
Yeah.
You get a pro controller for it. It's a regular ass fucking controller.
Right.
The docking isn't clunky. You fucking put it in, you pull it out. Like it's not
simple.
clunky at all. It's very
the simplest.
You can
fucking
literally
shit.
do it while you're playing.
Yeah.
Like that shit's fucking awesome.
That's the best part. You're like, oh, I gotta go. Pick it up and you're on the go.
Unclick it. You can fucking.
You
put
don't
it
have to
standby.
reboot it. It's already fucking.
Yep.
Yeah, you can stand by it at the same spot.
I mean, said, go ahead and place it, Finn, real quick. Tell us it has all
So I
right
actually
games.
like the hardware. Aside from it
The
being
hardware
underpowered,
you said
I
is
do have to give them some
gimmicky.
credit. Their vision for the idea of playing it in these two different modes actually was correct. I'm going to put it on the B tier.
He's put it on B tier with the Nintendo 64, the PS3, and the 360. Where is he getting the reasoning? The Switch is one of the most sold fucking consoles of all time already. Half of his fucking ranking is sales. It's the third highest selling system of all time, right next to the DS and the fucking PlayStation 2, which he has higher than it.
It has quite possibly one of the best designs of any console.
Yeah.
Because it can be docked and played in handheld.
Yeah, it's a handheld and a gaming console. It's got a fucking eShop. It's got apps. It's got online play. I don't understand how he puts that at B. I literally have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I'd choose the Switch over Nintendo 64.
I mean, I'd take a Switch over
Maybe
any
a
console at
360, a
this point.
PS3. Like, I think a Switch is an S tier for me personally. One of the best rated Zelda games of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking one of the best Mario ratings of all time. One of the best Fire Emblem games of all time.
Super Mario RPG now.
Yep.
Holy fuck,
The
dude.
remakes on it. It's got all the old consoles. If you get online for it, you get all the old consoles for free.
Yeah.
NES, SNES,
Those don't
Nintendo
count,
64.
though.
I think if you don't put it as at least an A, you're crazy, but I put it as an S tier. I think it's one of the best systems so
Yeah,
far.
I mean, my personal preference plus sales push it to the S. I think sales alone.
Nintendo sets these bars where like this is what consoles need to be, and then everybody else follows them. And I think with
Yeah,
that
I
one, they
mean,
set the bar way higher.
Look at the Steam Deck.
I think Steam Deck needs to be on this fucking list, honestly.
Steam Deck is S tier.
He put it as B tier because he doesn't know shit about gaming. That's okay.
PS4 is surprisingly good. It had kind of a rough start. It's well done. The controller is fantastic. Overall, I'd say, I mean, it's got a very good library of games, although to be fair, a lot of the better games are ports from PC, but still, it's cool to have them. I would rather have a PS4 than a PS3 any day.
When I think of like PS4 and that generation, because that's Xbox One,
Mm-hmm.
I think all the people who are still getting Xboxes, most of them transitioned over to like PC gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only people who are buying consoles at this point are fucking Nintendo and then fucking PlayStation people. They're like, we got exclusives. I got to get a PlayStation for the exclusives. And Nintendo's like, we got exclusives.
Yeah.
And then fucking Xbox is like, computers exist. But I don't know anything about PlayStation 4. I'd never played one.
So if that's the case, we got to look at sales.
All right, sales, it's got 117 million.
It was the fourth
Just
highest sold.
Fourth highest. So yeah, I mean, that's fucking good. PlayStation 3 was 87. Look up the top selling games. Oh yeah, God of War Ragnarok.
Last of Us
Last
2.
of Us Part 2.
Bloodborne,
Oh,
Witcher
that's
3,
fucking baller. Witcher 3.
Persona
5. Grand Theft
GTA
Auto 5. Yeah,
Horizon
everything
Zero
has
Dawn.
that.
Oh, this is where all the hits
Marvel
came out.
Spider-Man.
These are all where all
Okay.
the modern day hits came out.
Okay, I mean, I see it. There's a lot of good games on PS4.
Mhm.
I've never played any of them, but I mean, sales alone, I'd put it at.
It's got to be an A or B.
I guess I'd put it at A because I mean, the sales alone pushes it that high. If we're gonna say that the Switch because of sales that high,
I mean, especially because we went and played Last of Us 1.
Yeah.
So it's like Last of Us 2's got to be good. There's got to be no controversy around that, right?
No,
it's got to be like
it's got to be a fucking stellar.
It's got to be better than the first one, right?
Has to be.
Okay.
So it's on a better selling console.
We're gonna have to check that out.
So that's where Finn ends his list.
I think so.
Well, I think we'll leave it at that for now. That is the console tier list.
Oh, we haven't done Game Boy either.
Game Boy I'd put as a B.
We're doing Game Boy Color though, right?
Game Boy Color, yeah. Because I mean, it had the first Pokemon games. People still talk about Red and Blue to this day. Had Gold and Silver on it, the next Pokemon renditions. It had Tetris on it. What's your take with the Game Boy? What was your experience?
Me? I played Pokemon and Tetris.
Link's Awakening.
And Pokemon Trading Card Game.
Pokemon
I played those three games
awesome.
all the time.
Yeah.
I played Pokemon so many times over and over and over. That's probably the only generation that I repeated. I think it's definitely on par with it N64 for me.
Okay, I'm okay with that. Did you want to put what else were you putting on?
Game Boy Advance.
Game Boy Advance.
Because it's Game Boy Advance, and then DS. Like those are the three generations of handhelds in my opinion. I would put it in A only because I played it more than a Game Boy Color, but I can see it being in a B. All right, you know what, dude? This is not on the same tier as the 3DS, dude. There's no way that's on A. There's no way that
I'd put it as B also.
There's no way that could ever go on A, bro.
Go ahead and pull up the fucking PlayStation Vita.
Ugh, I'm good.
I loved my PlayStation Vita.
Where are you gonna put it?
Probably like D or F.
Why?
Because it was a commercial flop.
Is it going on F?
It did so bad. You can put it on F. I'm okay with that.
It's like, going on F.
I loved my Vita. That shit was so fucking cool and ahead of its time. And then they made no games for it. And then it fucking sold absolute dog shit and nobody talked about it. It was like relevant for 6 months.
So the Xbox One isn't on here.
Oh,
the PS4 competitor isn't on here.
Oh, okay.
Where did you put the PS4 competitor? Series X is the PS5 competitor.
Yeah.
This would be the one after the 360.
Xbox One. I love my Xbox One. I mean, it has backwards compatibility all the way back to the original Xbox, which was cool. It actually set the standard for controller. Like that controller is what I use now. I mean, I do use my Series X controller, but it's the same thing with one record button. I'd be okay with it being on a B tier.
I would only put it on B.
It didn't do well in sales.
Yeah, and I would only put it on B because that's like when I transitioned to PC and was like, like I can play these games on PC.
Yep. Well, that's what I was going to say with the Series X.
Yeah, Series X is
there's
truly
no point in owning a Series X.
There really isn't, unless you don't have a computer.
That's it. Halo Infinite is on the PC.
And it's all in Game Pass, and it's all
free too. The only reason I have an Xbox One right now, me and my girl play Baldur's Gate just because it's easier for her to like use a controller. We can play like on the couch in the living room and shit.
Yeah, couch co-op.
Yeah, that's why we play it. Yeah, it's fucking gone. I played the fuck out of Elden Ring when it came out on it because it was 4K.
Yeah.
And it was out on that before it was out on PC.
That's why I got my PS5 is to play Sony games that are stuck on the console in 4K. I mean,
if you look at Series X, I'm pretty sure it's a flop on sales. I'd put it as like a D.
We haven't done a PS5 though.
What? I thought he put a PS5. Oh, he went up to PS4?
No, he skipped the PS5. He just did 4.
Throw a PS5 on there, dude. I think PS5 is a C just because it actually has exclusives over a Xbox Series X and it sold better.
In its current state today, it is definitely a C.
Yeah.
It does not have enough games.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. The same tier as a Wii.
Yep. There it is. And can we fucking cap this off with the God tier? We didn't put a God tier on here, but there is one. All right. And just go ahead and throw the PC on there. And that's it. You don't need any other console anymore. You can grab yourself a Switch if you want to.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
And there you go. You got your fucking...
There you go. That's all you need in life. It's a PC and a handheld.
That's disgusting. All right, guys. That is the re-edited Redux version of the list. The only list you'll ever need. Thank you, Finn, for starting it. We fixed it for you. You're welcome. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Fuck Sony. But we were fair. Look at S tier. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo.
I think we were more fair than he was.
I think so.
Like by far.
100%.